Hey everyone, Egman here with a highly anticipated video, I guess. A question that's been kind of popular and kind of was around for a bit. It's just we're going to talk about bad rulings and specifically what happened to me and stuff like that. Before we get this kicked off, one, I'm not going to mention. I don't want to mention the player I played against or the judges by name or anything like that. I don't think that would be very productive. I don't think there should be a witch hunt on what happened, and that's partially why I kind of took so long to make this video. I didn't want, when emotions were high, I didn't want people to do that. But I also something to keep in mind about this event. This was Easter weekend. This was not like just some ordinary weekend. This was no doubt a hard weekend to get judges in the first place. And they came in from all across the U.S. to be there, and they gave up their holiday weekend for this event, and they're not playing in this event. They're just judging this event, right? They're working for this event, right? This isn't. I don't think I've never been a judge, but I can't imagine it be a fun time. I can imagine wanting to clock out as soon as I can. But with all that said, and so it's not. And just the old thing that like people make mistakes. I think that gets overlooked a lot. Even though they are judges, they do make mistakes, and something like that. And in the same way that players make mistakes, judges do too. Of course, they're at a higher standard of that, but that doesn't mean they're perfect, right? We're not some automated card game. We're not Hearthstone or anything like that. Mistakes can happen from either side, and I think that's something to be think about. And I hope this video is also the goal of this video is also to kind of prepare for when those mistakes happen. Right? They will happen to you, and not to be pessimistic. And heck, there will be times where it works in your favor too, to be honest. But it's not. It's something that you have to prepare for. And there are steps you can do to make this less happen less, but it's a variable, right? It's something that happens, and there's that. So with all that explaining away, so what happened specifically in my case, I was playing against a Janimba player. We got to game 3. We got long story short, I get out Victory Strike, and I'm able to combo him up to 145k. So nothing to a pretty big amount, and then he goes to his combo step, and then he does Godstrike Beerus targeting Victory Strike, and he claimed that it negated the keyword, and I said no, that's not how it works. Beerus Victory Strike cannot be negated as part of Goku's skill. It's his permanent, and that's not how it works. And so we had disagreement in that, and we called a judge over. The judge, the conversations proceeded that is Victory Strike a keyword, and if it's a keyword, can it be negated? And so that was something that the judge needed more information on, and I appealed to bring the head judge over. The head judge was not able to. I believe the head judge was pretty much on the stream setup the most of the time, but we got another judge over. That judge, and there may have been a miscommunication between judges of what the main question was, of whether Victory Strike was a keyword or not. So that was the first step to figuring out this issue. Is Victory Strike a keyword? And so it is. They looked it up. It is. It's a keyword. And so we're like, okay, cool, that's good to know. And then I asked my opponent backed me up on this and said that this is what I said. I looked at the judge, showed him the card, and I said, does that mean, or does this Victory Strike get negated from my card that says its effect cannot be negated? And he ruled it yes. And I confirmed again. And I said that this does not have Victory Strike going in, and he said no. And so I scooped up my cards from there. That he was at 8 life and I was at like 2, and I had like 2 cards in deck. So if he just swung with his leader, he won. And so after that I was pretty upset about that, and so I was like, okay. And so part of this is me. I was in a state where I could be persuaded that that was the ruling. I will say that I was not. I didn't play with Victory Strike enough. I don't own Victory Strike. I borrowed it from a friend. Shout outs to Eric and his dad. Yeah, so that was part of it. And so I was talking, and so when we were on siding, I talked to him about it, and I was like, I guess that's how it's ruled. I guess I guess I have to keep note of that for going future and that kind of stuff. And we were unsiding, and we already turned in the sheet, and then while we were doing that, the judge came back and he said the effects of, okay, boys, when I was first brought over here, I was asked if Victory Strike is a keyword, and I said yes. However, Awakened Power Goku cannot have its effect negated. And that was pretty upsetting to hear from me. That was it goes against to what I qualified it a couple times that, are you sure that this is how it works, because this is what it is. And so that was that was something that happened, and so that was pretty upsetting to hear. And so he said, so no, it would have been Victory Strike, and but I scooped my cards. That was the deciding factor. And so from there, it was a bit. One, I was pretty angry. I feel like I was okay at keeping my composure, but my opponent definitely, obviously, that upset me. Right? How could that not upset you, being told that you were right after scooping your cards and being insistent that you were? But the other thing is that even though I did get to 145k, it didn't. I would say my opponents had what he was at with Beerus. He had 1 energy untapped and he was unawakened, so he was at 20k. And so, but he said that he had all 4 sensu beans in hand. He also had 4 pseudo combos and 4 super combos that he couldn't draw with those. And so, I would definitely say, doing the quick math, that means that he had 100k in hand already, between the 80k from super combos and the 20k from the beans. So assuming he was telling the truth, which I don't think he was lying, but that was so it wasn't a situation where if he had like 3 cards in hand, I would contest that there was no way that he could combo up to 150k. But I digress. So we talked a bit if it made sense to issue a tie or not. But here's for me. I'm a pretty, I wouldn't say gullible, but I would say sympathetic person, and in the same sense that, yeah, I spent 8 hours to get here, but the other guy also spent time and effort to get to here, and he deserves a fair shake. So I entertained the idea of offering a draw, but I decided that it wasn't fair to him. And even though it was a bad ruling, it was still my responsibility to see the right ruling, and so that's how it goes. So there's that. And then so that was pretty much it. So it all worked out in the end. I still made top 16, went 7-1, and wouldn't have been bad, but it definitely did affect me towards the day, and I was able to get out of the funk, luckily. But it's something that can be a really big momentum stopper, and I think that's something that a lot of people get hurt by. And if I didn't get top 16, I have no doubt I would keep wondering, like, what if I fought that ruling more? What if blah de blah, right? It's a big deal. So so that's pretty much what happened. I wouldn't say I would fault anyone. I'm okay with how the outcome came, and it wasn't necessarily anyone's fault. The judge could have been more informed by me. There was a lot of variables that went into it, and of course I got shafted, but that doesn't mean that I'm scot-free from the blame. So there's that. But some tips for other people when this kind of things happens. And to be honest, I heard of some other kind of horror stories about Someone said they played like Height of Mastery and then it got Crusher Balled, even though it had a deflect and stuff like that. Like something that I should have done is I really should have fought for the head judge on something like this. I it was also just knowing the interactions of your own cards too. Since once again I wasn't 100% familiar with how Victory Strike worked, it was something where I could be believed or persuaded that it didn't work. And if I knew for a fact 100% that it didn't work, I would protest. I would have made a scene. I would have been embarrassed, but I definitely would have done that. Right? This is a big thing for me. Right? It's a big thing for everyone. I didn't just decide to drive 8 hours down to Dallas for the fun. Like this was a big event for me, and I wanted to participate. So it's not something to be dissuaded against. If your opponent should be all about it too. If they know that the ruling is how the other judges have been ruled, they shouldn't have an issue with having a judge over. The only reason in my mind that they would have an issue with that happening is because the ruling that they don't want the ruling to change, right? This didn't happen to me at all, by the way, but don't let someone persuade you that the judge isn't worth getting called for. They definitely are, and it's something that you should do just whenever you think you need to, right? It's not something that it's just not something you should be persuaded against. I'm getting a little rambly, but so that happens, and some advice for this headspace is just to not wonder what if. I know I'm a bad example because I'm talking about what if, but that's definitely not the way to do it. And once you scoop your cards, you're pretty much done. So give it a second before scooping your cards to make sure you're done. But because for my example, it wouldn't have. I would have had to just like sat there for like 5 minutes before shuffling my cards. But it's something you can't take back, and I think having the fewest regrets is the easiest way. I guess that's like a cheat way to do it, but just realize that it's okay that you made mistakes, and don't let it tilt you. Getting tilted is like the worst, especially in these Swiss, like 8 rounds of Swiss where you have to go X and 2 to get up there, maybe, is just grueling, right? You can't, it's like saying you can only make 2 mistakes for 8 hours of not eating food and drinking water, right? That's daunting on so many levels, and you don't need another reason to psych yourself out. Just be confident in what you're doing. Know that you're doing the best that you can, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's how card games work. You don't always make it to the top, and that sounds like a quitter mentality, but if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You can, if you practiced and you trained hard for this, I feel like you should be able to pull through, right? And it's sometimes hard realizing that. Sure, you got a bad ruling, but if you didn't make it, then it's not your fault. Like this is a game of luck a lot of the times too, and so I see so many people take it personally that they didn't top, get whatever place they wanted, but it's not your fault all the time, and sometimes it is your fault, and being able to catch that and improve from that is a really big thing. And for example, I know for a fact that I will never let anyone Beer's God Strike my Victory Strike away. It didn't really matter in this situation, but in situations in the future, maybe it does matter, right? And I don't want I don't want any of that to happen to anyone else too. So just being knowledgeable, knowing how interactions work and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of my ramble about this subject. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any facts that are wrong. I don't blame the judge either. I hope you guys know. Once again, it's a holiday weekend. He's giving up his holiday to be here to pretty much watch me play card games. I can't think of a duller reason to do that kind of thing. But judges are human. They will make mistakes, and but they will fix your mistakes if you can point it out to them. And I think that's a really big thing. Some judges are. I guess it depends judge per judge, but I know I asked the head judge after the fact, and he knew his rulings, and he was pretty up and up on it. So usually head judges are a really good support system, but and I was able to make some comment. I talked to him before the event too. If you are questioning how an interaction is, and there are some interactions that are tricky, like for example with the new Tien card and the new Agent of Destruction in Janemba, there was a big controversy on if you could untap an energy with Janemba because it was the end of your turn and Tien came off at the end of your turn, right? And for some of those, if you're questioning how it's going to be ruled, ask the head judge. If you get there early enough, the head judge is just walking around getting ready for the day. And if you ask how he's going to rule something, you won't get surprised, right? You will know how the event goes. If you have any questions on any of those rulings, I really do suggest you asking those judges who are running there. Because even if it's not correct, it's how the judge is going to be ruling it for that event. And you can't, it sucks sometimes, but you can't, it's how it is. It's just how this game works. It's how having the human touch is. But that's just another way to get around it. So I think I'm talking about this a little bit too long. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope that clears stuff up. I hope I'm not really upset. And once again, the Janemba player and I talked afterwards, and we were good, and we took pictures at the event too, and everything. So I hope it doesn't seem like I have any like bad feelings towards him. And to be honest, it's not his fault, and he deserved to win that game just as much as I did, and I didn't. Some technicality shouldn't strip it away from either of us. It's a tough situation. So I think that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys don't get rule sharked or bad ruled, but hopefully this helps when you do. And I'll catch you all next time.